Hey everybody, welcome back to Studio G, Blakes and Bounds. And today we're gonna borrow from YouTube again. We've done this in the past. We did one on David Bowie a little while back where I found something that he said that I thought was of interest. And I showed it to you earlier. We're gonna do it again today.
A professor at Harvard, Arthur C. Brooks, talks about boredom.
Yes, boredom.
And first off, before we get into the subject, and it won't be a long ramble, keep watching us, and then when the video's over, then you can be bored.
Right.
You'll understand the thing.
But stay interested for just a few minutes. Yeah, it was fascinating to me, Dennis, because I follow him a little bit. He's a professor at Harvard, and he talks about a lot of things. And yeah, the word boredom, where we're going with this, he talks about how we're so reliant now on our devices that we never allow ourselves to just sort of shut down and sort of have free thinking that's just us in a quiet place or while driving. And yeah, he talks about some things that it's really actually impacting our lives.
So he's talking about actually sitting down or being alone without any other stimulation at all. Just you and whatever the weather's like or whatever room you're in.
Right.
And your mind.
Let your mind wander. Yeah. So, well, let's take a look. It's just a couple of minutes, everybody. Watch, if you don't mind, watch the clip, and then we'll come back with a couple more comments.
Okay.
Boredom is a tendency for us to not be occupied otherwise cognitively, which switches over our thinking system to use a part of our brain that's called the default mode network. The default mode network is a bunch of structures in your brain that switch on when you don't have anything else to think about. So you forgot your phone and you're sitting at a light, for example. That's when your default mode network goes on. Well, your mind wanders and thinks about, for example, big questions of meaning in your life. What does my life mean? You go to kind of uncomfortable existential questions when you're bored. That turns out to be incredibly important, incredibly good. One of the reasons that we have such an explosion of depression and anxiety in our society today is because people actually don't know the meaning of their lives, much less so in previous generations. Tons of data show this. And furthermore, we're not even looking. Why not? I'll tell you why not. We figured out a way to eliminate boredom. How? The answer is that thing in your pocket with the screen, which you take out even when you're standing on the street corner waiting for the light to change. Is like, I might have to wait here for 15 seconds. If every time you're slightly bored, you pull out your phone, it's going to get harder and harder for you to find meaning. And that's the recipe for depression and anxiety. When you go to the gym in the morning after you wake up, don't take your phone. Can you handle it? Not listening to a podcast while you're working out, just being in your head. I promise you, you'll have your most interesting ideas. Commute with nothing, not even the radio. Can you do that? Start getting better at periods that are 15 minutes and longer of boredom and watch your life change. You'll start digging into the biggest questions in your life: purpose, meaning, coherence, significance, and who knows, you might just get happier.
Harvard professor knows his stuff. But I mean, the main thing is we keep our minds occupied all the time with stuff.
Right.
With the phone.
With the phone, which is what he talked at length about.
And you think about, this is one of the greatest inventions in the world in terms of the information it can bring us.
Right.
We also become so dependent on it that it's almost like a drug.
Yeah.
That's
well put.
Never a minute you can't ever have a minute alone without looking at the screen. So.
Right. That's what I liked about his message, Dennis, because, you know, us and others, we've talked a little bit about screen time and all the different, you know, aspects of that, watching even just television or your iPads, spending so much time on your computer at work, personally, whatever. But what I liked about this particular presentation was just that idea that it's important that our brains have a chance to do the things he talked about, which is, you know, just wander a little bit, think about the meaning of life.
One of the things he talked about, which really hit me, is that I love to do a lot of walking, and when I walk, I always put the earbuds in, and I'm either listening to a podcast, usually, or some music.
Yeah.
And he's suggesting that even that keeps it prevents you from being with yourself, with your own thoughts, and mulling about the important things in your life, that you should be able to do as a single objective, instead of having other outside influences take your attention away from your thinking.
Right. Yeah, because there's just something about that screen. It just takes you away from the in the moment. And honestly, I know for me, I go out there in nature sometimes, and I'll admit I take a camera with me a lot. Everybody knows that, I think by now watching this even. But I find even that is different than a phone, because I'm trying to see something out there that I think is of interest, and I then just want to convey that message. So I'm allowing myself that in the moment experience. I still think I am, even if I'm
With the
totally
camera. With the
around. Yeah,
camera.
because I'm not, trying to get stimulated from the phone.
You could leave the camera at home and
But I
have
could
that experience in your head.
just totally have it in the head, which I will say there's some people in my family think that's not a bad idea. Put the camera away, Mike.
So you can gather with people, and instead of showing them pictures, you can describe
Right.
what you saw in your words.
Right,
And
you're
then
right.
discuss it in that fashion.
Well, we'll wrap it up, but I don't know. I guess it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe just a good reminder that we just need to isolate ourselves once in a while. Yeah.
And as we say goodbye, I got to grab my phone and check my email. We'll
Right.
see you next time.
Okay. Maybe get me a couple of scores. while you're
I
on
got scores too.
there. Okay. All right.
I'm never alone. I'm never alone.
Never.